Today, we're going to talk about the digital twin within the operational intelligence journey. It's worth start by talking about one of the success factors in achieving a real functioning digital twin and achieving an intelligence for your operation during the entire life cycle of the building. And it is actually the deployment of a master technology integrator on the early phases when we are doing the planning and the design concept of the building. The master technology integrator gonna interact with the entire stakeholders within the project in order to set a specific roadmap for the intelligence of the operation, including the digital twinning. And they're gonna start into looking for the entire details of the infrastructure, the network diagrams, the integration which gonna happen between the different systems within your building, and they're gonna also look into the future expansion of any of these systems. So the roadmap will be based on a short-term and mid-term for the state-of-the-art technologies available within the market, and also future-proofing for your building to be able to implement any future requirements. And one of the important points within their support to the development is actually the digital and cybersecurity. We are all talking about platforms, cloud-based platforms, on-prem platforms, and it will be accessible by many entities, several people, subcontractors, vendors, whatever. And we need to assure that there is a proper authentication system and cybersecurity or digital security for the entire implementation which we are doing. It's worth saying that you need to get an engagement with whoever will be able to put you on the track. And the master technology integrator is really helpful in setting these strategies on the early phases. Then there is one point related to an extended utilization. Aside from the BIM, and which we will focus on in our discussion, you might be having your energy model, you might be having your hydronic model, your contractor or consultant will be developing it during the construction. You need to start to think in early phases how you will take this forward in order to do a further and future implementations related to your building. For example, the energy model, you need to convert it from a construction model into an as-built model. You need to start to capture the actual operational scheduling related to the building when you start the operation. And this will help you in the future if you are having any sustainable initiatives related to net zero carbon or whatever require energy auditing for your building. Similar also to the hydronic model, and specifically talking about the digital twinning, we start from the BIM, and the BIM for sure gonna have a BIM execution plan. But will the BIM finally will enable you to use it for your digital twinning? You need to consider on the early phases within the BIM execution plan that you really need to get from whoever gonna develop your digital twin, what are the detailed specifications, and provide it to the team who will be building your BIM model, in order to streamline the process of shifting the process from BIM, or the famous terminology BIM to FM, which we used to use previously, in order to be able to have it at the time when you are having the building operational. One important point specifically regarding the digital twin is if you have a core and shell building, and most of the spaces are leasable spaces, and you really don't need to end up with no visibility to your tenant spaces, how they are performing, what's happening. Or you come one day in examining how you're gonna achieve a net zero carbon or carbon neutrality, and you need an information related to your tenant and or the leasable spaces. And you need on early phases to tell your tenants, I need something from you. I need you to provide a BIM model with the same specification for the building, so you can marry them together at the end. You need to ask them for their asset information entirely. You need to ask them to have an integration to your BMS system, but to a limit, not to inflate their fit-out cost, and utilities meters. So the utilities meters is the essential part in order to have a visibility about how they are performing from energy perspective. Great. So now we tackled the BIM on the early phases, how we're going to take it forward. We know what we need from our tenants, and we planned for the extended utilization for another platforms. Let's get into a quick screenshots from an existing digital twin. So this is the platform which was used in order to integrate with the BIM to do the integration between the 3D modeling and the information available within the building itself. Going deeper, on the slide of the BIM execution plan, there was a consideration related to how many Revit models we need. We recognized that once you will be giving many people to access into the digital twin, and it end up with a small tablet with a limited specifications or RAMs, that they need to have to see what they really need to see. So the initial request from having a different Revit models, which you will be able to turn on and off whatever you need, in order to ease the usage in the future for your team or for your vendors. This is another snapshot which is actually showing most of the models are on the platform, and this is the iBird view for the summer garden of ICD Brookfield Place. Then, let's say there is an engineer and he's going deeper, and within the BIM execution plan, there was a consideration about the level of development. How much finally details you want to see. You need to plan this on the early phases. And here, these details available where you are navigating into it as a system, let's say it's an air conditioning system, the initial decision about how it will look like and how it is segregated, how the system are connected, was done on the very initial phases and was overseen during the construction of the building. And then he goes deeper, and let's say he decides to click on a certain pump, and he will start to see the life cycle information related to that asset. And when we talk about the data of that asset, the actual design data, the actual commissioning data, and the maintenance reports related to this asset. And all the type of the documentation which has been uploaded related to that asset specifically, even including the training recording related to that asset in his hand. Okay, now we talked about a passive build for a digital twin. Where is the live feeds? Where is the actual live data coming related to each equipment, or specifically for that pump, for example? What we plan to do is actually not to have a direct connection between the platform, which is taking the BIM to the FM, but actually to go into a higher layer, which is the central management platform. And the central management platform, it connects with the entire systems available within the building, and also connected to the energy model related to the core and shell, and it's connected also to the platform which we have seen just on the previous slides. And then there is another layer of integration, which we talked about. Now we have a full integration into what's happening within the leasable spaces, because we are already asked them to provide a certain information and to provide a certain level of connectivity. And then another layer, which mainly related to an expansion to the rest of the disciplines under the operation, and mainly the CAFM system, which will be responsible for the operation and maintenance scheduling for the building. Then there is another deeper layer even, and it might include the ESG data management software if you have within your strategy to start to report your ESG. So now we have a complete overview about the entire strategy and how it was set from the start. Where we are right now, we need to achieve the efficiency during the operation. We need to start reduction of our OPEX. And what we ended up with is actually giving all the operation and maintenance team for the base building, all the operation team for the tenant areas, and all the property and facilities management, a complete access to the entire platform which has been built. The central management platform, along with the BIM-based digital twin, this is gonna really facilitate the artificial intelligence concept, the automatic fault detection within your building, which will really help the entire operation and maintenance team, either related to your building directly or related to your tenant, in a very intelligent manner.